Light-hearted.
Offbeat.
Stories
that are not necessarily the news.
So Barack Obama has released the first of a two-part series on his time in the White House. Yeah, it's called The Promised Land. Chris, got to get a copy of that. In the first 24 hours, it sold almost 1 million copies. Wow. Yes. A record for the publishers, Penguin Random House. Expected to become by far the biggest selling presidential memoir in history. Man, the man is still so popular. Anyhow, here's what he had to say in the book about, you always wonder, what do the guys really think about the people they meet? So, different leaders that he had met. David Cameron, he said that the Eton-educated conservative who served as the UK Prime Minister from 2010 to 2016 was urbane and confident and had, quote, the easy confidence of someone who'd never been pressed too hard in life.
The easy confidence. I like that.
Never pressed too hard in life, man. He said he liked him personally, even when we butted heads, but made no secret of the fact that he disagreed with his economic policies. On Putin, he said the Russian leader reminded him of the political barons he encountered during his early career in Chicago. He was like a ward boss, except with nukes and the UN Security Council veto. He said Putin did in fact remind me of the sorts of men who had once run the Chicago machinery. Yeah? Tough, street smart, unsentimental characters who knew what they knew, who never moved outside their narrow experiences, and who viewed patronage, bribery, shakedowns, fraud, and occasional violence as legitimate tools of the trade. Chris.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a really good book, man.
Oh, man. Now, Nicolas Sarkozy is in the news, as you would have heard this morning. He's the first president of France in modern times, ex-president, to be facing the courts. I wonder if any other world leaders are going to face the courts. Anyhow, the former French president was all emotional outbursts and overblown rhetoric, according to Mr. Obama. A figure out of a Toulouse-Lautrec painting, according to Mr. Obama. Conversations with Sarkozy were by turns amusing and exasperating, his hands in perpetual motion, his chest thrust out like a bantam cock's, his personal translator always beside him, frantically trying to mirror his every gesture and intonation as the conversation swooped from flattery to bluster to genuine insight, never straying from his primary, barely disguised interest, which was to be the center of the action and take credit for whatever it was that might be worth taking credit for. Wow, what a writer.
Comprehensive report, man.
A bantam cock. He's trying to say he has short man syndrome.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now, here's what he said about Angela Merkel, the German leader, referred to as steady, honest, intellectually rigorous, and instinctually kind. He notes that she had at first been skeptical of him because of his lofty rhetoric and speech-making skills. I took no offense, figuring that as a German leader, an aversion to possible demagoguery was probably a healthy thing. On Recep Erdogan, the Turkish leader, he says he was cordial and generally responsive to my requests. But whenever I listened to him speak, his tall frame slightly stooped, his voice a forceful staccato that rose an octave in response to various grievances or perceived slights. I got the strong impression that his commitment to democracy and the rule of law might last only as long as it preserved him in power. Oh boy, what insights. And then finally, Manmohan Singh, the Indian Prime Minister. The former Indian Prime Minister is described as having been wise, thoughtful, and scrupulously honest. The chief architect of India's economic transformation. He said Mr. Singh was self-effacing technocrat who'd won the people's trust not by appealing to their passions, but by bringing about higher living standards and maintaining a well-earned reputation for not being corrupt. I gotta get the book. Gotta get it. I hope it's not out of stock by the time I place my order. But, there's always, we can buy it online.
We can.
Yes, we can, right? That's Barack Obama's new book, man. Over nearly a million copies sold in the first 24 hours. A Promised Land. All right, there's your review for it. 7:21 in the morning. That's not
necessarily the news, brought to you by Signia Globe Financial Inc. Think outside the bank.